Hi everybody, Tex-Mex here. Thanks for joining me for another video. Today I brought out my Ruger Blackhawk to put some rounds through it. This is a 6.5-inch barrel 357 Magnum Blackhawk. It's got a black checkered hard rubber grip, ramp front sight that, as always, I put a little bit of nail polish on to make it a little bit brighter. It's got an alloy steel frame, but obviously a steel cylinder and barrel. It's got an adjustable rear sight. Empty, it weighs about 45 ounces, so it's a relatively heavy revolver. It has a 1-in-16 right-hand twist with 8 grooves. It is single action revolver. It's not like the old ones. This is the newer model, so it does have the transfer bar. I guess it is called the new model Blackhawk, so let me make sure I'm clear about that, because there is obviously older models of this. So this is the new model Blackhawk. You can load 6 in it because it does have the transfer bar system. So as I said earlier, it's a single action. So let's check it real quick. And unlike the old Colts and the 4-click type single action revolvers, this one, opening the loading gate is what frees up the cylinder to load or unload rounds into the cylinder. So you can see there, it's completely empty. You have here to the little bar to eject casings. And the transfer bar system is, as you can see there's this little piece of metal there that comes up as I pull the hammer back. Let me see if I can get this a little closer. You see that? So that transfer bar actually allows for the hammer to make contact with the firing pin here and fire the round. And that transfer bar will only stay up if the trigger is pulled all the way back as you fire it. So that is just a safety mechanism to make sure that if you load 6 rounds in here and you have this hammer resting on a round, there's no way it's going to go off no matter how much you bang it, unless you have that trigger pulled all the way back. So they're beautiful revolvers. I used to actually have one of these in stainless steel a long time ago. Foolishly, I traded it on another gun purchase. It was a beautiful firearm. I will say the blued one's a little bit lighter, because I believe the stainless steel, there's no alloy frame. It's all stainless steel, so it's a bit heavier. And this one's already a bit heavy for lugging around. But I keep this in a chest holster, which is nice, because when I'm driving in an ATV or in a truck, it makes it real easy for me to have it there ready to grab, and it doesn't get in the way as I'm sitting down. So those chest holsters are really, really nice. I've actually used them for a couple of my different pistols, especially when you're jumping in and out of ATVs. And with the 6.5-inch barrel, it makes it very accurate. I actually keep this around for potential hunting, sometimes to shoot a hog or something that's not too far away with some heavier grain bullets. But what we're going to do today is try different weight ammunitions, because I have it sighted in for 158 grain. At least that's what I recall sighting it in for. So we're going to shoot some of that as well. But I wanted to see how well it grouped with 125 grain. So I have this Remington UMC jacketed soft point. And I have some 110 grain, which is very light. But I was curious to see how well it fired out of here. So this is Winchester 110 grains jacketed hollow point rounds as well. Typically, I keep heavier ammunition in it, because if I do want to shoot a hog or something with it, I want a big heavy bullet that's got a lot of energy. And just so you know, if I'm hunting with this, I'm not hunting long distances with this pistol. This is for a 50 yards or less for me to take a game if I'm in a situation where I don't have a rifle with me. So anyway, let me get these loaded up. I think we'll start with the lightest first and move on to the heaviest. I've got some targets set out down there at 25 yards. I'm afraid the 110 and 125 may not even hit the target, because I have smaller targets, but we'll see. We'll see how well they group at 125 yards. So let me get it loaded up. Okay, so here we go. I got loaded with 6 rounds of the Winchester 110 grain jacketed hollow point 357. We're at 25 yards. I'm going to take these shots a bit slow. I am going to be using a bag here to rest my elbows, because I'm really trying to see how accurate there's differences in accuracy between these different ammunitions. So let's take a look. Now I've already fired a couple of these rounds on the steel, because I wanted to see if I'd even hit at that distance with 110 grain, considering that my pistol is, or this revolver, same thing, is sighted in for 158 grain, and the 110 was shooting low. So I'm going to try to aim a little higher. I'm going to aim towards the top of the target, at least for the 110 grain ammo, to see how it groups on paper. So let's see here. Yeah, it's hitting very low. Yeah, hitting very low. To be clear, I was aiming at the top of the target on that particular one for this ammunition. And I think in the first round didn't even hit. The rest look like they hit okay. They're not grouping terribly. So it doesn't seem to dislike this 110 grain. I would just have to adjust the sights for my point of aim to be for that particular ammunition. But before we go look at our target, let's go ahead and move on and we'll load up the next ammunition. Okay, now I have the 125 grain jacketed soft point UMC, Remington UMC ammo in there. I'm also going to have to aim a little high on this one because I put a couple of shots on the steel just to see where it was hitting, and it's hitting a little low as well, a little low and to the left as well. And just to be clear, I have this sighted in for 158 grain, but I remember correctly, I think I sighted it for 50 yards as my zero, so that may be why it's hitting so low at this distance. But let's see how well it groups these. Well, first let's see if I can get them on target. Then we'll see how well it groups. Oof. Wait, okay, so that hit high. And that one hit low. Huh. Wow, it's just spreading them all around. Okay, and just to be clear, once again, I was aiming high. That first shot, maybe I had my front post a little higher than I should have, but I was trying to keep my shots relatively consistent since this is a precision test, not necessarily accuracy test, but a precision test. I don't think it liked this ammo. At least looking at this from the distance, it doesn't seem like it grouped as well as the 110 grain. But let's move on. We got the 158 grain. Let me get it loaded up, and then we'll see how well it does. Okay, 158 grain. Ooh, it's getting windy. Let's see here. Shouldn't matter at 25 yards with 357 Magnum. I don't think there'd be any significant wind drift. But let's go ahead and fire these last rounds. Okay. And that's 6. You can tell that one I actually did aim at the center of the target, and it's looked like it was hitting the target. So yeah, definitely this is the ammunition I had it sighted in for, at least the weight of ammunition I had it sighted in for. So let me go ahead and go take a look at the target. And here we are at our target. Did not do great today, guys. Just so you know, I had some larger targets. I forgot to bring them with me, which is why I'm using these smaller shoot and sees at 25 yards. I wish I had the other ones because I would have at least been able to keep them all on the target, easier to see. But you know, if we look here, it actually grouped the 110 grain really well. It was shooting low. I was aiming up here for these rounds, and I'm assuming one of these bottom ones down here is the 6th round. But look, I mean, that's a good group for a free hand at 25 yards. This is a terrible group. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So number 6 is either this one, probably that one. Maybe it's this one, but I would assume it's that one. Just kind of spread them all around the target. So I don't know if it's that particular 125 grain bullet that it did not like, but it just didn't seem to group well with them. Now the 158 grain, 2 I shot low. Now this may have been me pulling them, but 4 it hit relatively close to center. You know, I'm tempted to fire 2 more rounds out of this just to see where they hit, because I did hit I'm surprised that I didn't do better with the 158 grain, considering that's what I have it sighted in for. But I have been shooting all day, so it might be that I'm just getting a little tired and starting to pull my shots a little bit, which is always a possibility. User error in all of my videos is always a very big possibility. So, but it didn't do too bad. Even the few I got on the target did a lot better than the 125 grain. And yeah, you know what? Let me fire 2 more rounds. I want to see if I can get the last 2 there on target. Okay, I've got 2 more rounds in. Let's see how we do. See if I can at least put them on the target. Okay, did I get them on the target? I don't know. We'll see. Let's go take a look. Well, here we are. I'm gonna have to look at the video. Obviously I got 1 more hit on the target. I don't know if I got the other one on there. These 2 are already existing, so unless I really pulled that last shot, or unless once again I got another shot inside one of these holes, which even then you'd see it spread out a little bit. So let me see on the video. Either way, it looks like it does like the 158 grain. It seems to at least keeping them closer to target, since that's what I have it sighted in for. And I think I had it sighted in for a different type of 158 grain, not that American Eagle. I want to say I used to have it for the for a federal load. But that's something you got to keep in mind, that even if you have the same weight ammunition between different companies, different loadings, different types of bullets, they're not going to hit the same. So once you find a particular loading that your firearm likes, especially with pistols, well, I say that, but it's very true with rifles as well, make sure you stick to that particular brand, weight, and type of bullet, because even if you say, well, you know, it's 158 grain, but it's a different brand, or it's a different type of bullet, it's a full metal jacket versus a jacketed soft point versus a jacketed hollow point, it makes a big difference on your point of impact. But anyway, as always, lots of fun. Love 357 Magnum. Love these revolvers. Single action's a fun way to go. But as always, I hope you all are doing well, staying safe, having fun going out to the range, and I will see you in the next video.